DreAllDay.com.
Before we start, please like and comment on this video so I can get your feedback. Also, click that subscribe button so you can get all the new content I'm dropping on this channel. And the free book, the mental handbook, physical book, Work on Your Game University, just take care of the shipping and handling, send this right to your doorstep. Let's get started. What's going on, everybody? Dre Baldwin, DreAllDay.com. We are back with the NBA previews, 2016-2017 season. This team, I think this is a team to be excited about, the Minnesota Timberwolves. This is a team to be excited about. They won 29 games last year, so they weren't good, but they weren't super terrible. And with the type of roster that they had, this team can get a whole lot better based on this roster that they have. So let's take a look at what additions they made. And this ain't even telling me the additions. I'm just looking at the roster and just going off what I know. I know they drafted Chris Dunn, who is a point guard out of Providence University. I saw some highlights of Dunn in the summer league. I did not watch him in college, but I know he was probably pretty damn good in college since he got drafted as high as he got drafted. So we're going to see what he does during the NBA season. I really don't like to predict what an NBA rookie is going to do in the regular season, not even based on what they did in the summer league, because we know, any of you who have watched the NBA closely, you know there are players who have dominated the summer league in the NBA, but then they don't dominate in the actual regular season. They never even reach anything close to that level of dominance in the regular season game. So I'm not even going off what happened in summer league. Even though a player could be good or terrible in summer league, I want to see when they start playing in the actual games. But we do know that he has talent. We know that Dunn has talent. So that's a positive that you add a player that has some talent and some promise. Jordan Hill, I don't know if he played for Minnesota last year, but he's a good, solid veteran guy. Kevin Garnett, he's not an addition. Kevin Garnett's 40 years old this year. I guess he wants to stick out one last season. And Kevin Garnett's a great mentor type guy, especially with the big that Minnesota has. Kevin Garnett, or any size player that Minnesota has, Kevin Garnett is a great mentor. And he's known as a guy who's been very disciplined, hard-working guy, a leader. He's respected by everybody around the league. He's been on losing teams. He's been on winning teams. He's been the superstar guy, been the MVP, all-star, and now he's like the guy who don't even play that much. But I remember I saw a clip. There was a clip of Kevin Garnett. They were playing against, I think, the New Orleans Hornets. New Orleans Hornets last year, because Eric Gordon, y'all know Eric Gordon, right? He was playing for the Hornets, and Kevin Garnett wasn't even suited up. Y'all know how the players be sitting on the end of the bench with a suit on. Kevin Garnett didn't even have a uniform on. And the Hornets had the ball, and they were their basket was near the Timberwolves bench. And Eric Gordon shot like a pull-up 20-foot jumper along the baseline, like right near the bench. And he missed. And as soon as the shot missed, Kevin Garnett was like, hell no. Like that it wasn't going to go in. And as they running back up the court, Kevin Garnett was like, trash ass nigga. I don't know what problem Kevin Garnett has with Eric Gordon. Or maybe he just says that to every player in the league. I have no idea. But it was a fan that actually took the video. They had seats like right next to the bench. So he's just filming for whatever reason. I guess he was filming because KG was just talking trash the whole game. And Kevin Garnett's the type of dude, he'll just talk trash from the bench the whole game to other players for no reason. And maybe, or for a very good reason. He was like, hell no, trash ass nigga. Talking about Eric Gordon. I have no idea where that came from, but it was hilarious. I saw that on, I think it was on Twitter or on Vine or something like that. It was hilarious. But anyway, Kevin Garnett is a good mentor. At least if he's on your team, he's a good guy to have on the team. Looking at the rest of this roster, looking at the veteran guys, we're going to get to the young guys in a minute. Nikola Pekovic, I don't know what happened to Pekovic. I think he's gone through some injuries. If there are any Timberwolves fans who follow the Wolves closer than I do, and there may be several of you, let me know what happened with Nikola Pekovic, because I know the last year him and Kevin Love was on the same team together. And Pekovic was actually doing pretty good. He was scoring. He was getting you 20 points a game. He'd get you 8, 9, 10 rebounds a game. He was doing his thing. He's a big guy. I don't know how much of a factor he's going to be now that the Timberwolves have some more youth in there. Maybe he'll be out of there. Maybe they'll keep him around, but we'll get to that in a minute when we start talking about the youth. Tayshaun Prince, a wing guy who is a veteran presence, respected guy. He's been an all-star. He's been a NBA champion. He's been on winning teams, been on losing teams. He's 36 years old. This is probably one of his last years in the league. Another guy, another great veteran to have on this team. And again, y'all have heard this has been the same theme I've been saying with these young teams. You got to have these veteran guys who've been around, who've been on winning teams, so that they're respected because they have been on teams that could do things, and they personally been doing their thing. They've been respected as a player, and then they get on these teams with these young guys to help mentor them. So it's a good thing that Minnesota has 2 of them on his team. But let's see who else they got. Ricky Rubio. Well, Ricky Rubio is only 25. Seems like he's been around forever. Ricky Rubio got drafted the same year as Steph Curry. Timberwolves could have had Ricky Rubio and Steph Curry, but they picked Johnny Flynn. And who was the other guy they picked? It was one other guy that they drafted. Somebody fill me in. I don't even remember. I know they picked 3 point guards. I think it was Ty Lawson. I think they drafted Ty Lawson. They drafted Ricky Rubio, Ty Lawson, and Johnny Flynn out of Syracuse. And Johnny Flynn didn't last too long in the NBA. And Ty Lawson, I know they traded him. But there was some other point guard that happened to be in the mix too. I know they traded Ty Lawson to Denver, obviously. But it was somebody else that they had. I don't even remember. But they passed on Steph Curry 3 times, is the long story short. Maybe 2 times. And then Steph Curry got picked. Then they picked one more. Something like that. And that was David Kahn, who got fired. And he probably won't get another job in the NBA. At least not in the role that he had before. Looking at the rest of this roster, damn near everybody else on the team is under the age of 30. They got Damon Brudez. I don't even know who he is. Maybe he played last year. I don't know. So forgive me. Brandon Rush, 31-year-old role player. I wouldn't even call him like that veteran presence type guy because he hasn't. I don't think he doesn't have the personal accomplishments as a Tayshaun or a Kevin Garnett. But I guess he'll be like an 8th or 9th player, I think, based on how Tom Thibodeau is going to coach this team. New coach Tom Thibodeau. Great pickup for them. Tom Thibodeau, I think, is a excellent coach. He was great in Chicago. I think he had some run-ins with the front office guys, which is the real reason why he lost his job. It wasn't that he couldn't coach the team. Some run-ins with the front office that he had. But looking at the rest of this roster, the young talent that they have, they got another guy, I can't even pronounce his name, Nemanja Bjelica. I don't even know what country he's from, doesn't even say. He's another 6'10" guy, so they got some size. Cole Aldrich, I don't see him playing too often this year. Georgie Dang, young guy center. Jordan Hill, again, I don't think he's going to play too much. Tyus Jones from Duke is on this team. Zach LaVine, who we seen him, what he can do in the dunk contest. Zach LaVine actually got some game. He got more game than I thought he had now that he's gotten to play in the league. I think he's going to be a much more impactful player in the league than he was even as a college player, where he gets to, the game is a little bit more wide open. He gets to use his athleticism. And he can handle the ball. He can shoot it a little bit. And he got good size at the guard position, at the point guard position. Probably could play a little bit of 2 in a pinch. Shabazz Muhammad is only 23 years old. He was like the #1 player in the nation in high school when he was a senior. It seems like he's been around forever, but he's only 23 years old. Adrian Payne from Michigan State, he's 25. I think he's going to get a chance to earn some minutes, some rotation minutes on his team. Ricky Rubio, I talked about, only 25 years old at the point. I thought Minnesota was thinking about trading him last year. Now that they got Tyus Jones and they have Zach LaVine, Ricky might be on the trading block, but he might be the guy that sticks around. I think Ricky is actually a solid player. I wouldn't say he's a good player. I think he's a solid player. Good meaning, is he one of the top, let's say if we listed the point guards, starting point guards, every team in the league, 1 through 30, I think Ricky Rubio is somewhere in that 10 to 20 group. I think he's somewhere in the 10 to 20. I don't think I put him in the top 10. I think he's in that middle part, I think. But if you think differently, let me know. And then, of course, we got Karl Anthony Towns, who's only 20 years old, Rookie of the Year last year, and Andrew Wiggins, 21 years old. These 2 guys, I think, are the possible future of this team. Andrew Wiggins, we got to get to in a minute. Let's talk about Karl Anthony Towns. He is the best player on this team. I think we can all agree Karl Anthony Towns is the best player on the Minnesota Timberwolves. This guy can shoot the ball on the outside. He can do his post thing. His post game is going to improve, I think, over time. He is athletic. He can handle the ball. He can work in the mid post. He can work in the high post. He can work in the low post. He can grab rebounds. He can play defense. This dude is a total package, all-around talent. This guy is going to be one of, I think he could possibly be, could he be an all-star this year? I'm going to say no, because I don't think the Timberwolves are going to win enough for him to be an all-star. But I think his 3rd year, he could start being an all-star. The Timberwolves start winning some damn games. I don't think he'll be an all-star this year, just because the team's not going to be good enough. But he, talent-wise, he's up there. Andrew, what else can I say about Karl Anthony Towns? Anything else I need to say about him? I mean, he's Rookie of the Year. He's one of the best players. As far as the rookies, he was the best rookie. This year, he's going to get even better. And I think based on the way that this roster works, as long as he's on the court getting his playing time, which I think Tom Thibodeau ain't no fool, he is going to be on the court playing. And the more mentorship he gets from Kevin Garnett, I think that's really going to help accelerate his career even more than if Garnett wasn't there. So the sky's the limit for Karl Anthony Towns. Andrew Wiggins. Here's the thing with Andrew Wiggins. Super athletic guy, wing guard, wing scorer. He can play the 2, he can play the 3, he can handle the ball, he can post people up. He got super long arms. He is super athletic. Him and Zach LaVine, 2 super athletic wings or guards, whatever you want to call them. The thing about Andrew Wiggins is I'm not sure that he has the mentality to be like that dominant guy. I'm not sure he has the mentality of like, give me the fucking ball and get out the way. I'm not sure he has the mentality of Karl Anthony Towns, get out the post because I'm about to go to work on this guy right here. I'm not sure he has the mentality of Zach LaVine, stop shooting the damn ball, give me the ball. I'm the guy. I'm the number 1 pick in the NBA draft. Give me the ball. I'm not sure Andrew Wiggins has that mentality. And I know I got some Canadians watching this, so let me know. Am I right about this? Am I wrong? Any of y'all watched him at Kansas? Any of you who watched him in his years in the NBA? What do you think? Is Andrew Wiggins, does he have the mentality to be the guy? And when you're on a team like this team, this Minnesota team, you got all these young guys and all this talent. Like they just brought in Chris Dunn, who can put the ball in the basket. Ricky Rubio, who is he's a passer, so I don't think Rubio is one of those guys who needs the ball. But Zach LaVine is a guy who wants to do his thing. Zach LaVine wants to score. That's what he does best. He scores. He does his thing, and he dominates the ball. He's like a lead guard. He's not a guy who bring it up, pass it, move around, spot up, shoot a 3. He's a guy who wants to handle the ball, do his thing. Karl Anthony Towns he's not a selfish guy, but he's a guy who does his thing when he has the ball in his hands. He needs the ball. Nikola Pekovic, this guy needs the ball. He's a post big man who wants to go down there and go to work with the ball in his hands. Tyus Jones, point guard who wants to have the ball in his hands. There's a lot of people on this team who need to have the ball in their hands to be effective. They do their best when the ball is in their hands. Not to say that any of them is selfish, but they need to have the ball. Andrew Wiggins he could possibly be, out of everybody on this team, he could be the best player out of everybody. Did Andrew Wiggins win Rookie of the Year his rookie year? I'm not even sure he did. Somebody fill me in. I think he did, but it doesn't even matter. Andrew Wiggins has talent. We know this, right? Karl Anthony Towns has talent. We know this. Andrew Wiggins has enough talent to be the best player on this Minnesota team. Now, is he going to be? It's not all about his talent. It's really about his mentality. Does he have the mentality to walk in that gym with all these other guys, all this other talent, guys who have that mentality? Does he have the mentality to say, give me the fucking ball? I don't know. Canadian fans, Timberwolves fans, Kansas fans, let me know if I'm right or wrong about this with Andrew Wiggins. Karl Anthony Towns, I think he got it. And he has so much ability that even if he doesn't have the mentality yet, he's going to be the man. This team is going to rotate around Karl Anthony Towns' performance. Other than that, picking up Tom Thibodeau, I think, was a great pickup. And this team, Minnesota, they weren't a terrible team. As I said, last year they weren't terrible. They were bad, but they weren't terrible. They wasn't as bad as the Los Angeles Lakers. They weren't as bad as They weren't as bad as the Brooklyn Nets. They won 29 games, which for a young, up-and-coming team is, I think, that's a respectable area of wins. 29, that between high 20s and mid 30s, that's like a respectable amount for a bad team. Now, there are some teams who are expected to be better who had that record, who was a disappointment. For Minnesota, with the roster that they had, it was okay for a bad team. Now, this year, they got to get up to that 34, 35 win range. And with Tom Thibodeau, I think they do that. They got to get up around 35 wins, which is not going to get them into the playoffs in the Western Conference at all. But again, they got to start improving. They got to start progressing, winning games. And all these young guys are a year older, a year more experienced. They got the veterans there to mentor these young guys. They got a new coach who knows what it's like to take a team to the playoffs and be successful, be a contender. They got the right mix. Minnesota fans, y'all should be excited about this team. I'm looking forward to seeing what this team does. I want to see how all this talent shakes out and who ends up, being where in the pecking order, because there has to be a pecking order in every organization. So Minnesota fans, y'all let me know what y'all think. If there's anything that I missed, all of your opinions, comments, questions, criticisms, praise, leave it down there in the comments. And next, we will be back tomorrow with the next team, which will be the New Orleans Pelicans, who won 30 games. And we're going to talk about whether that's a disappointment or that's a good thing. Everybody, I'll see y'all in the next vid, NBA Season Preview 2017. Work on your game. DreAllDay.com.
Hey, witness on the beat.